Hi, in this video we will prove that every analytic function admits a power series representation. So we will use the finite Taylor development which we discussed in the last lecture notes. It is stated here. Also the remainder estimates which we obtained for this part. Now we begin with an example. You consider fn z equals z by 2 z power n plus 1. Here this is defined in a proper subset of the open unit disk. Each fn's are defined like this in this disk and so on. And fz equal to z here, which is defined on the whole open unit disk. And we can prove that fnz converges to fz point-wise. That is easy. But in this rigorous estimate, you will see that the n corresponding to each epsilon, you can choose independent of z, provided your set varying in a smaller compact disk. That means if mode set less than or equal to r strictly less than 1, then you can choose this n to be independent of z. So that fn converges to f on the compact disk mode set less than or equal to r, where r is strictly less than 1. Hence, it converges uniformly on all compact subset of Z. Subsets of the unit disk mode set less than 1. Now, this is an example. Now you can see from this example that here fn's are not defined on the whole omega. Here omega is open unit disk. Fn's are defined on a subset actually. But what we see is here, when we say that fn converges to f, and fn need not be defined on the whole omega. Fn's are defined on some omega n. Fz is defined on omega. But each set in omega, we assume that there exists a large n naught such that z belongs to omega n for all n greater than or equal to n naught. That's a way in which fn converges to f makes sense. Now, Weierstrass theorem tells you that if fn's are analytic and converge uniformly on all compact subset of omega to a function f, then f is also analytic. Moreover, the derivative of fn's converges to derivative of f uniformly on all compact subsets of omega. Two things you have to keep in your mind. In fact, one we already mentioned, that the domain of definitions. The second thing is that in real analysis, this is not the case. The uniform convergence does not preserve your differentiability, but in the complex analysis case, you have this differentiability or analyticity is preserved under uniform convergence on all compact subset of omega. Now let us come to the proof. Proof is done in this way. In fact, there are two different proofs. We club them together in this single proof. So we prove it only in a compact disk of radius r. First we prove it on the compact disk of radius r, then we will extend it to the whole any arbitrary compact subset. So in this compact disk, you keep in your mind that this is a subset of omega, and each point in omega is in omega n for large n. So therefore, this whole compact disk will be subset of omega n's, union of omega n's for large n. And by compactness of this set, you'll get a finite subcollection. Or in other words, you can say that the compact disk is a subset of omega n for all large n. So therefore, you can apply a Cauchy's theorem there. So integral over gamma for any closed curve gamma, integral over gamma fn z dz will be 0. And now uniform convergence will let you interchange the limit and integration. This will give you integral over gamma fz dz equal to 0. And you already know that under uniform convergence, continuity is preserved. So f is continuous, and this integral vanishes for every closed curve. So apply Morra's theorem and obtain that f is analytic. This is one way of obtaining analyticity. Now, this can be done in any arbitrary disk. That is something you keep in your mind. Now, another way of proving the same thing is by the use of Cauchy's integral formula. Look at that. F and z can be expressed like this via the Cauchy's integral formula. Now apply uniform convergence and interchange the limit. You get fz is like this. So by Cauchy's integral formula, this tells you that f is analytic. Moreover, you can apply Cauchy's integral formula for higher derivatives. Fn dash, you can write it in this way. And by a simple estimate here, you'll obtain that fn dash converges to f dash. So the proof is completed for an arbitrary compact disk of radius r. Okay. Now if you take an arbitrary compact set, you can easily see that it can be covered by finitely many such compact disks. So on each disk, the result is true. Therefore, it is true on any combat subset of omega. Now, as a consequence, you can apply it for series. If each term of the term in a series is analytic, then its limit will be also analytic. Now, Hurwitz's theorem tells you that if fn's are analytic and non-zero in a region omega and converge to f uniformly on all combat subsets of omega, then f has only two choices. Either it is identically zero or never equal to zero. This is again done very easily by looking at this quantity. See, look at this quantity. Fn is non-zero, so this makes sense. So this quantity will give you the number of zeros enclosed by C, and the limit you apply the uniform convergence. So limit you can interchange. So you limit as a limit you will obtain this. This will represent the number of zeros of F enclosed by C. So this is 0. Therefore this should be 0. Hence you will get that F is nowhere 0 unless it is identically 0. Now we club all these results to obtain the Taylor series representation. In fact, we have already proved the finite Taylor development in the last lecture, and the remainder estimate also was done there. And now it's a simple thing. You just apply n tends to infinity, the remainder term goes to 0. So what happens? You get the Taylor series development. This is the exact explicit representation. If f is analytic in a region omega and containing z0, then you have a representation like this, f of z equal to the typical Taylor series representation. Okay. Now I have discussed certain examples and requested you to include these exercises into the assignment sheet. So also keep in your mind that I have included another lecture note in this week explaining the principal branch and branch point, branch cut, and a bit Riemann surface, elementary Riemann surface and all. So that will give you clarity on these examples like log 1 plus z and 1 plus z power mu and so on. Okay, I will stop here.